Cool. Cool, cool, cool.
I'm going to do Instagram too.
Oh, you're doing it on that? Okay.
On here.
Hey guys, we'll just wait for people to join up. We are live here with Kevin Eastman. He
Cowabunga!
is known for this little mini-series comic book that some of you might have heard of. Co-creator of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Simple little startup from
Chad's
35
making a
years
late
ago.
appearance here. No, we just started, Chad. You're just joining us. We haven't really officially started. We're just kind of... Yeah.
Was it 1790?
1790?
Columbus
So
discovered...
we're waiting for people to join up. So Kevin is actually here for Phoenix Comic-Con. I'm sorry, Phoenix Fan Fusion / Comic-Con.
Yes.
He is going to be at booth 1790. Is that right?
Yes, Planet Awesome Collectibles, booth 1790. We're doing two 2-hour signings throughout the day tomorrow, Saturday. So come by and see us.
Definitely. So we'll definitely, as people join, we'll make sure to announce that a couple more times. But make sure to come by, see Kevin. And if you guys haven't already, so we got a bunch of questions asked, and we've got some pre-asked questions here. But if you have other questions, toss them up in the comments. We'll be actually watching those on our screen here. And we'll try to get a couple of those in as well. So we're going to be maybe about 10 minutes, be pretty quick. And also, real quick, so we're going to give away a couple things. We got a couple pops that got signed here. I say a couple. There's more than a couple. Those are already signed. We're actually down to the comic books. We wanted to get all the bulky stuff out of the way first. So we've got some pop figures, some Shredders, some Ninja Turtles. So what we're going to do is we're going to give away a couple things. All you have to do to get in on that is just leave a comment and like the feed. That's all you got to do, and then you're in. So that's it. So make sure, and that's even if you're not watching live. So if you missed us live and you're watching as a video, no problem. Just make sure you leave a comment and like the feed, and then you will be in on the giveaways. And we'll pick a Jordan and or Nathaniel. We'll reach out to you on Monday for that. So cool. So right now we're signing all the comic books. We got some questions. I'll start firing them away. And again, make sure Chad will be my official watcher of the comments. And I'm sure I'll see some crazy. I got some free questions ready to rock, man.
I was excited about some of those.
Yay, Chad.
No, you can watch that for some
Question
comments
monitor.
too.
We'll go back and forth.
So all right, let me start. Let's kind of start here. So one that I liked. Kind of start. Maybe if you could just briefly tell the story about how Ninja Turtles came to be, about when it happened, and the story behind Ninja Turtles becoming a thing.
Ninja Turtles, it was a dark and stormy night. Very cold. No, in 1983, November of 1983, Peter and I had formed a studio we called Mirage Studios because it was a mirage. It was just our living room, and we were trying to submit ideas to get work from a lot of different possible places that might hire us. So we got lots of rejection letters and all that, which was part of the road is always paved with rejection as you work harder to go after what you're doing. But late one night I had this idea that I was a big fan of Bruce Lee, so I thought if Bruce Lee was an animal, what would be the silliest animal he would be? So I drew this turtle standing upright. He had a mask on, had nunchucks wrapped around his arms, and I said, put it on Pete's desk, and I said, this is going to be the next big thing, ha ha ha. And he thought it was funny. He laughed. He did a sketch, changed some things, and made me laugh. So I said, if one, why not four? So I did this pencil sketch of all four turtles, each with different weapons in this kind of comic booky cover pose, and penciled in Ninja Turtles in the top. And when Pete inked it in, he had a Teenage Mutant to the title, so we had Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and we thought this was the dumbest thing we'd ever seen. But it made us laugh, and we really loved it. So we said, let's keep this one for ourselves. Let's try to raise some money to self-publish it and bring these characters to life. So that was in November of 1983, and we worked through till May of 1984. So this very month, the Turtles are officially 35 years old.
Wow, very cool.
Inspired by Bruce Lee.
Yeah.
I never knew that. Yeah.
So we were as we were signing here and doing the signing, we were talking about the crazy things. I mean, Ninja Turtles. The question is, what haven't you seen Ninja Turtles on? I think everyone's got the undies, right? Everyone's got the Ninja Turtle undies. throw in the comments. Tell us what other Ninja Turtle items, maybe some crazy items that you've had that you've owned over the years that had Ninja Turtles on it. It'd be kind of fun to hear what you guys have had. And I don't know, can they add photos? You can't add photos in the stream, can you?
No.
That'd be fun if you could. You could probably tag us. You could probably throw a photo on Instagram and tag us of some kind of fun Ninja Turtles memorabilia that you have. I know a lot of collectors might have some of the old toys and things like that. In fact, we had Kevin sign some of those. They're out of the room now, but some of the original, we had a Splinter from 1988, first year of the Ninja Turtle toys. So that was kind of fun to have that.
Somebody said
Anyway.
they wanted to see one of the signed photos up close.
Yeah, so right now we're doing comic books. So there's a ton of different comic books being signed.
Yeah, everything.
That's Shredder.
Yeah.
Yeah, the whole comic books are classic Mirage comic books, Archie comic books, newer comic books from the IDW universe that we've been doing. And
Yeah, a little bit of everything. So I guess following up to that, speaking of how you created Ninja Turtles, we had someone that asked if there's some kind of tip or some kind of inspiration you could give to a creator trying to kind of break in and create themselves as an artist. Is there some kind of tip you can give them, having gone through that process?
It's interesting. There's some things that are still very much the same, which is hard work and perseverance, and sort of even when people make fun of you for like, you want to draw comic books? Well, it's like I said, it's different, much different now. But it's like taking hold of your dream and really holding on to it and working hard for it. And by working hard, it means even I always say that if you're into soccer or baseball or playing guitar or drawing comic books or writing comic books, you have to work at it every day. It's like if you want to get better, you have to work hard at it and keep following that dream, and you'll get there. But breaking into the market is very different these days in a cool way, in that you have so many different options to reach an audience. Whether it be through Facebook, building audience through posting your cartoons or your ideas or your stories and building a fan base or an audience that way. A lot of digital communication, which is great. Sites like DeviantArt and comicart.org and other places that are just great communities where, say, if you're a writer and you're looking for an artist, different people make connections there to team up on their own creation or create new ideas. But it does. There are numerous ways to reach your audience, but hard work is still, no matter how you slice it, that's the only way you're going to get there, and that's stay true and work hard.
You had mentioned the hat you're wearing that's the first sketch you had ever done of a Ninja Turtle?
Yeah, this on the hat here, because we started putting this design on our T-shirts, because we do a tour T-shirt every year. We'd have the first turtle on there, and it would list the tour dates on the back. So I always like when you follow a rock and roll band and it lists all the tour dates and concert shirts. So we started doing those as tour shirts. And a friend of mine had a couple characters that were like this embroidered on the hat, and I thought that was the coolest thing. So we kind of tracked down the company. And
is that something that fans can get at your website, or is that a unique hat for you?
No. It's you can get if you ever want to know where I'm going to be, where we're going to be for appearances and conventions, or behind the scenes on stuff that we're working on, whether it be new comic series or new products. We offer prints and hats and original art, exclusive items that you can only get on KevinEastmanStudios.com. So yeah, just that www and the .com at the end, but Kevin Eastman Studios is
check that out. There's some really cool stuff on there. I was just on there the other day. They have so Kevin will get actual original Ninja Turtle toys and sign the actual turtle and then put it in a package that shows that it came directly from him. So very cool. I thought that was cool. I think a lot of you collectors would like that too.
Hey,
Did you have some good questions in there?
Well, we've had several. It's funny that some people ask us, do you have a favorite character that you've done? Are you partial to one or the others?
It's certainly for the turtles. It's very hard because I feel like overall they're for both speaking for both Peter and I, because we really are their parents. I feel like we love them all equally because they're all our kids, but at the same time, I always Michelangelo. If people say, well, you have to pick one, then I'd say firstborn would be Michelangelo. So I'd be partial to Michelangelo just for that reason. But at the end of the day, we love them all. Love them all equally. But if there's other, Casey Jones is one of my favorite human friends of all things turtles, and that.
Can you, one previous question that Louis, is it Louis or Lou, had asked about maybe talking about some of your other creations. You had mentioned that before, but I think you mentioned there was a new series that just released. Is that right?
Yes, actually we did a Kickstarter 2 years ago for a project called Drawing Blood, which is kind of a Spinal Tap parody, semi-autobiographical, but sort of much more than that, all set in the world of comic books, featuring a character named Shane Bookman and struggling with his creativity and all those nutty things that can happen in your everyday life. But he was famous for creating with his brother, the radically rearranged Ronin ragdolls, which is 3 samurai cats that were found after they'd been exposed to radiation and gamma rays and mutagen, and they grew up above a sushi restaurant in Queens. And so it's a very straightforward, and they're all named after famous Japanese animators. So we have Otomo, Miyazaki, and Tezuka. But that just hit stands this past Wednesday, the 22nd. So it's back to self-publishing 35 years after the original publication of the Turtles 35 years ago. Was a self-published project. So this is my first new project that I'm just doing myself through my own company. So it's quite fun. Check it out.
Cool.
Yeah, when you want to go?
Go ahead. If you have something ready to go.
Well, it's a little more personal. They're asking, is any of the ink on your arms Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle related?
It isn't. And it's funny because I love tattoos. Have for a whole long time. I've had these for 30 years practically. But now I always liked more sort of tribal inspired art. So, and I didn't want just anything. So I spent probably 3 or 4 years creating my own designs. So lots of, like, literally photocopied my arm on a copier, and then sort of I'd have these things, and I'd keep trying different designs on my arm, just come up with one that I like. So
Yeah.
but so it's my own tribe. It's tribal, but my own tribe. So
I like it.
Nice. And then a couple had asked maybe if you could shout out your favorite villain in the series, possibly, and/or your favorite episode.
Ooh, goodness. Many. I guess the classic is probably all-time favorite villain would be Shredder. Because and I told the story before, but I'll tell it again in case you guys hadn't heard. Shredder was created by doing dishes. When
You were doing dishes when you created this?
Yes. When Peter and I had Mirage Studios, and when we had created the first drawings of the Turtles, and we were coming up with the origin story of the Turtles, Peter's wife Janine would cook dinner often, and then to try to humbly pay her back, Peter and I would do dishes. And so one night Peter was, and we were working on the origin story, so Peter was washing and I was drying, and it was one of those metal sort of rectangular cheese graters with a little handle, and I was drying up the inside of it with a towel, and I sort of reached all the way through, and so the shredders were there, and I said, man, could you imagine that as a bad guy? He would like literally shred your skin off. And Pete said, how about the shredder? So the shredder literally was born doing dishes.
Okay, so that's a good segue into another question here that I thought was pretty cool. Somebody asked about how the Turtles were named, and then someone else is saying, where did it go? Basically saying, how do you feel about the fact that the names of the Turtles have helped educate kids about classic artists?
That's that's where
thought behind that when naming them.
Only in that I had growing up, I had such a personal fascination with history in general, but specifically art history, to the point where Leonardo da Vinci was one of my heroes. Which is, I was such a geeky kid, but I loved it. I thought, he's like sculptor and painter and inventor, and so I was always very passionate about Leonardo da Vinci and Michelangelo and all that. So, and even when I was in high school, Westbrook High School in Maine, when I graduated, I did some of the seniors contributed to this big mural, and I did my tribute to Leonardo da Vinci. And so when Peter and I were coming up with the names of the Turtles while we were working on the origin story, we felt like traditional Asian names for our characters, because it's pretty scary when you're actually like, okay, we've come up with these things, what do we call them? So traditional Asian names seemed appropriate because of the martial arts Asian history that was included in their origin story, and we were like, well, we're talking about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. doesn't seem quite silly enough. So even Doug, Bob, Steve, traditional American names still didn't seem silly enough, and I just blurted out to Pete. I said, well, why don't we name one like Leonardo, like Leonardo da Vinci, and another one Michelangelo, and he just laughed. He thought that was the funniest thing ever. So that's where. So it just came from my interest in history and art history, and Pete was a big fan of it as well. In fact, we even had a discussion for a period of time, about a week, where I liked a sculptor from that same period named Bernini, and Pete liked Donatello. So for one brief moment in history, Donatello was almost named Bernini. Bernini is a great sculptor.
Was there other names? I thought I had maybe read that there were a couple other names for Shredder before you came up with Shredder. Was that accurate, or?
It was Shredder came quickly because I think I was like Crater or something. Nothing sounded stupid, but Shredder, even even Shredder, you're thinking like, was it Paper Shredder, or Shredder, or Cheese Shredder? It sounded silly, but I guess it's just you can say Shredder or say Shredder, and then it made it sound more menacing. So, but yeah,
And what was it? Did you say another name about that? I thought
no.
There wasn't ever another name
For Shredder?
I don't know. I read some crazy thing on it. I mean, everything on the internet's true, though. Right?
Absolutely.
You got any others, Chad? Maybe do one or two more.
Tell me how many you want to do, because I love the questions. They're really like, it's cool because there's genuine fans here that like really want to know like the history behind a lot of stuff. So what do you want to do? One or two more?
Yeah, one or two more probably. Okay. We'll have to probably wrap it up.
Hey, before we ask a question, I'm going to kind of give a shout out. Philip, I can't find his quote, but he was complimenting your autograph, and I will definitely agree. Jordan, I was trying to get him to zero in on this one, but just so cool.
Oh, I always loved that.
On there too.
Head sketches, it was something that evolved very early on. I just felt like, if you got to have an autograph, it's like, and if you're a cartoonist, you can do a little doodle. It seemed made it a little bit more personal. So yeah, I've been doing them since the beginning, and I've been asked more than a few times, and it would be interesting to find out. They ask how many of those head sketches I've drawn in my lifetime, and I figure that like, I'm sure there's some equation you could break it down to, but like 35 years old. The turtles are 35 years old. We've probably been doing those head sketches since the beginning.
Adding a few more today.
Yeah, adding a few more today. So
I don't even know if this one really has to have any deep thought, and I'm just going to ask it because it's got food related to it. So where did the idea come from that the turtles love pizza? And do we need a reason that they love pizza, or was there any kind of deep thought to that, or just they're teenagers?
That is probably like if you ask someone like one fact about the turtles, that's probably the one thing for whatever reason. It's like they eat pizza.
Well, it's funny. I mean, and when I was in high school, my after school job was I worked in a pizza place. It was like I cooked a lot of pizza, and as a teenager, it's one of those quick and easy grab and go foods. So it just seemed natural that if you have teenagers, even if they're Mutant Ninja Turtles, they'd like pizza too. So we had the pizza thing. They took it. By the time in the cartoon they were talking about jelly bean and anchovy pizza. That's a little rough, but there's actually a company.
Jelly bean pizza.
I know, but no, there's a company called Insight Editions, and they did this great ultimate collection of the turtle history. But a couple years ago, they put out a turtle pizza cookbook, which is fantastic. And they're real recipes, like Charlie, and so they, so you can. It's an actual cookbook that tells you different pizza recipes you can make. And it's very good.
Last question here. Actually, I have two questions. I'll strategize.
Last question, two questions?
Yeah, you can ask a few. We've got a few more books to sign.
So this is an interesting one. Has the rise in popularity of Marvel movies created any talks of a larger TMNT universe for movies? Is it kind of a resurgent and anything new in the works that you could talk about?
Well, what's been really personally fun for me is, and actually I'm working on it right now, is over the last 3 years we've done 3 different series where they teamed up Batman and the Turtles together. So I'm working on a third series right now with Freddie Williams and James Tinian, who is the writer. But then they did a Turtles Batman animated movie, which I haven't seen yet. But I hear good things about it. But I'd love to see the Turtles cross over into that universe more often, because that was, to me, growing up with Marvel characters and DC characters, but mainly Marvel characters, for me, it was it's been such a joy to see them on the big screen, brought to life in a way that is respectful and the the way I saw them when I was a kid, when I first was exposed to them and read them. So I'd love to see the Turtles join that greater, larger universe. Turtles Daredevil crossover. See a Turtles Deadpool crossover would be pretty good.
Really good.
They'd never do it, but I think that would be really funny.
You want one more cookie before we get to my last question? You want another softball served up?
Sure. Is there a hardball coming?
Uh-oh.
No, but so I think people really enjoyed hearing the inspiration behind some of the characters, and so somebody's bringing up Casey. You mentioned it's one of your favorite kind of human characters. What's the inspiration for Casey, behind Casey?
Casey Jones was it was created around the time that we were doing we wanted to do a single story, because every Turtle issue at that time had all the Turtles, and it was a big adventure. You sort of had to wrangle and maneuver and choreograph a lot of characters, and so we thought it'd be fun to dig deeper into each individual personality for each of the Turtles, and so we'd do a story that would feature just one Turtle and on some adventure. And so Raphael being kind of our angry character, I thought if Raphael met someone that was crazier than him, would that kind of make him look inward a little bit, maybe take stock of his anger and his issues. And so at the same time, I always felt that these vigilante characters, superhero characters that became superheroes, often had a really horrific backstory of their family was murdered or brutalized, or their city was blown up. There was always some really horrible reason that they decided to fight crime, and I wanted a guy that decided to fight crime just from watching too much bad TV. Okay. So I combined all those things into one origin, which is he would watch bad cop shows and decided he made his own costume and was going to go out and fight crime. And I originally had him designed as he only had his only weapons were 2 bats, and then Pete added the idea of a golf bag with different weapons in it, cricket bat and hockey stick and all that stuff, and that just really completed the whole Casey universe for me. So, but yeah, he's one of my favorites, and I love that he's been an important part of the Turtle family and every Turtle universe since the very beginning. He's been in every TV series, cartoon series, movies, all that stuff. So we love our Casey.
The question that I was holding for the end is, a lot of people are asking when can they get their hands on this stuff. And Steven, do you want to take that one? I mean, are you going to work late tonight, get the second one?
It's all listed before. Steven doesn't get to go home until this is all listed.
I mean, if Cavi would let me work on Monday, maybe.
The people
Nobody can hear you. We don't give you a mic.
What Steven says, it'll be up tonight.
Yeah.
You're working late. It'll be up very, very, very soon.
All right, so don't forget to come see Kevin at Phoenix Fan Fusion. Did I get that right that time finally? Fan Fusion,
yes.
Booth 1790. Is that correct?
It's called Planet Awesome Collectibles booth. 1790 is the booth number. We'll be signing throughout the day on Saturday. So yeah, please come by and say hi. And if we didn't get to one of your questions, you can ask it tomorrow. But otherwise, come by and get something signed.
Definitely. So come tell Kevin we sent you, and then come by and see Pristine's booth too. So tons to do. Comic-Con is Fan Fusion is nuts. So it's a lot of fun. Make sure you guys get out there. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, guys. Cowabunga.